I spent $47,000 in 6 hours. None of it was mine. And the worst part, I knew I was making a mistake. The man who gave me that credit card, I destroyed his life. She got everything wrong, and I let her. 24 hours earlier, Maya's phone slipped from her hand and hit the hospital floor. The sound was loud enough to turn heads, but no one rushed to help. No one ever did. The nurse didn't raise her voice. She didn't sound cruel. She sounded tired. "Without payment, we cannot proceed," the nurse said. Maya stared through the glass at her son, 7 years old, too small, too still. Machines surrounded him, beeping steadily, like a countdown no one had asked for. "How much?" Maya asked, already afraid of the answer. $47,000. Today. The number didn't feel real at first. It hovered in the air, heavy and impossible. Maya had $340 in her account. She worked 3 jobs, cleaned offices at night, stocked shelves before dawn, served tables on weekends. She skipped meals so her son wouldn't have to. There was no savings, no one left to call, no miracle waiting. This was how her son was going to die. Not because doctors didn't know what to do, not because the treatment wouldn't work, but because she couldn't afford to let him live. Her legs weakened. She leaned against the wall, fighting the urge to slide down to the floor. Inside the room, the machines kept beeping, steady and uncaring. "I did everything right," she whispered to herself. "I did everything I could." The beeping grew louder in her ears. And somewhere far away, in a world built on glass and money and certainty, a man who had never worried about numbers was about to make a decision he would regret for the rest of his life. "You're wasting time crying." Maya's head snapped up. The words cut through her panic so sharply it almost made her angry. A man stood a few steps away, near the vending machines, watching her like he'd been there longer than she realized. He wore an expensive suit that didn't belong in a hospital hallway. His face was calm, but his eyes were empty, like he hadn't slept in days. "Who the hell are you?" Maya asked, her voice raw. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his jacket and pulled out a credit card. Black, thick, the kind you only ever see in movies. The kind with no limit. "Someone," he said quietly, "who's about to do something really stupid." Maya stared at the card, then back at him. Her heart pounded harder. "I'll pay for the surgery," he continued. "Right now, no strings." She took a step back, shaking her head. "Why?" Maya swallowed hard and opened her phone, her hands shaking as she typed in the name embossed on the card. Ethan Blackwood. Net worth, $2.3 billion. Her breath caught. What do you do with unlimited money when you've spent your whole life with nothing? Maya stood inside a boutique she had walked past 100 times, but never dared to enter. The air smelled expensive, clean, untouchable. The coat hung on a rack by itself, $800, more than her rent. "This is selfish," she whispered, almost like a confession. But her fingers moved anyway, tracing the fabric. Cashmere, soft in a way her life had never been. Soft like a dream she'd buried years ago because survival didn't leave room for wanting. "Can I help you?" the saleswoman asked, her smile polite but distant. Maya swallowed, reached into her bag, and pulled out the black card. "I want this." She was back in her car minutes later, the coat wrapped around her shoulders. The doors were locked, the engine was off, and suddenly the tears came hard and fast. She cried until her chest hurt, until she couldn't catch her breath, until the weight of what she'd just done settled in. Then she wiped her face, picked up her phone, and opened her notes. Mrs. Thompson's rent, $1,200. The Johnson family's eviction notice, $2,400. School supplies for 47 kids, $800. Groceries for half the building, $600. The numbers stacked up quickly, too quickly. Her thumb hovered over the word confirm. This money wasn't hers. It was stolen time, borrowed grace, someone else's breaking point. Her heart pounded as if it were trying to stop her. She hit confirm anyway. 20 miles away, Ethan sat alone, refreshing the transaction list over and over again. Each new charge felt heavier than the last. $800. Boutique. $5,000. Rent payments. $800. School supplies. His assistant, Laura, leaned over his shoulder, her voice careful. She bought herself something. I know, Ethan said. Is that wrong? His jaw tightened. I wanted her to be better than me. Laura exhaled softly. Nobody is. The words stayed with him as the screen refreshed again. At 2 in the morning, Maya sat at her kitchen table, papers spread out in front of her, like the remains of something that had already been destroyed. Eviction notices, property records, legal filings she barely understood but felt in her bones. She followed the names, the signatures, the patterns. Her neighborhood wasn't falling apart by accident. It was being dismantled. On purpose. Every building, every forced move, every family pushed out traced back to the same source. Apex Holdings. Maya's breath caught as she read further. Owned by Blackwood Enterprises. Her stomach dropped. The man who had saved her son's life was the same man destroying her community. Maya didn't sleep. By morning, her decision was already made. She sat across from a lawyer, her hands steady now in a way they hadn't been before. I need to file a class action lawsuit, she said. Illegal evictions, fraud. The lawyer looked up from the paperwork. Against whom? Ethan Blackwood. There was a pause, a long one. The man who gave you his card? Yes. You understand what you're asking? The lawyer said carefully. Maya's mind went back to the eviction notice taped to her neighbor's door, to the plastic hospital bracelet still wrapped around her son's wrist. I'm asking for justice, she said. By afternoon, the charges stacked up one last time. $50,000 went to an investigative journalism fund. $80,000 more secured a billboard campaign. The messages were already approved. They would rise over the city by morning. Ethan Blackwood, your charity is built on our suffering. Maya stared at the confirmation screen, her chest tight. She had turned his money into a weapon and aimed it straight at him. The card still had 4 hours left. Ethan's phone blew up with notifications. The screen lit up like a storm. Laura rushed in, eyes wide. She's going after you, publicly. It's everywhere. Ethan swiped through Twitter. His name was trending. Headlines screamed, Billionaire tests poor woman while profiting from her eviction. His net worth dropped $400 million in an hour. Business partnerships began to dissolve. 20 years of building everything, gone in minutes. His hands shook as he pulled up the records again. Apex Holdings. He'd sold it. 3 years ago. It wasn't his anymore. She's wrong, he whispered, disbelief threading his voice. Laura's face drained of color. That doesn't matter. The internet already decided. Ethan stared at the screen, watching his empire crumble because of one woman's mistake. He should have been furious. Instead, he laughed. Maybe this was what he deserved for something else entirely. Maya sat outside the hospital where it all began. Her phone showed 23 hours, 59 minutes left. Her final purchase was a donation, $10,000 to a women's shelter. She tried to make one last charge. The screen flashed. Credit limit reached. Transaction denied. Maya stared, numb. She had spent $847,000 in 24 hours. Her phone buzzed again. Time's up. Hope it was worth it. She closed her eyes and whispered, So do I. 3 days later, Ethan sat on the steps of Maya's apartment building. No suit, no entourage, just a man worn down by everything. You were wrong, he said quietly. Apex isn't mine. I sold it years ago. Maya's world shifted beneath her feet. What? You destroyed me for something I didn't do. Then who? Does it matter? You already pulled the trigger. Maya's voice cracked, barely a whisper. I'm sorry. Ethan looked at her, his eyes sharp. Are you sorry you were wrong, or sorry you got caught? Silence stretched between them. He stood up slowly. Your son's doing well. I checked. At least something good came from this mess. Without another word, he walked away. Maya stayed seated on the steps, tears falling again. But this time they weren't from desperation. They came from shame. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video to your friends and loved ones. We go. 6 months later, Maya worked night shifts as a security guard. The lawsuit had fallen apart. Her neighbors stopped speaking to her. But her son was alive. She wore the cashmere coat to work. Worn now, pilling at the edges, but still hers. Through the boutique windows, she watched the women who belonged there. She pulled the coat tighter around her, and she kept walking. Ethan sat quietly in court-mandated therapy. The therapist, Dr. Chen, leaned forward and asked, "Tell me about the woman who destroyed your empire." He looked down for a moment, then met her eyes. She reminded me I was human. A small, almost sad smile touched his lips. I thought that would feel like losing. And what does it feel like? Dr. Chen pressed gently. Like I finally woke up. Maya's phone buzzed during her night shift. An unknown number. A message appeared. I hope your son is well. Her fingers trembled as she typed back. He is. I'm sorry. Doesn't cover it. 3 dots blinked on the screen. Then, we both made mistakes. Mine were just slower. Another message followed. Would you do it again? Give the card to a stranger? A long pause. Yes. Would you take it? Maya looked at the photo of her son on her phone. Yes. The reply came almost immediately. Then we're both idiots. For the first time in months, she laughed, really laughed. Yeah, she wrote back. We are. A year later, Maya stood in line at a coffee shop. Behind her, a young mother sobbed into her phone. Medical bills, a sick child. The same desperation Maya knew too well. She checked her wallet. $40. The exact amount she needed to pay her electricity bill that week. Maya turned around. This isn't enough, she said softly, pressing the cash into the woman's hand. But it's what I have. The woman looked at her, eyes wide. Why? Because someone once did something impossible for me, Maya said. We both got it wrong, but I'm still here. Without waiting for a response, she walked out. Maya clocked into her second job, tired but standing strong. Ethan wrote a check to legal aid. No cameras, no fanfare. Maya's son ran freely on a playground, alive. Ethan deleted another PR request, the weight of it all sinking in. 2 lives that touched once, changed everything, and survived anyway. Maya walked through the city streets at dawn, the sky soft and pale above her. Her phone buzzed one last time. A message from Ethan. Thank you. She paused, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Then she typed, For what? I ruined you. His reply came quickly. For reminding me what it feels like to care about something. Maya stopped walking, staring at the screen. She typed and deleted 5 different responses before finally sending, We're even then. You reminded me I was worth saving. Another message came. Were we right or wrong? Does it matter? She replied. I don't know. Me neither. The conversation ended. But something had changed. Not forgiveness, not friendship. Just 2 broken people who collided and survived. If you had unlimited resources for just 24 hours, would you try to fix yourself or the world? And if you chose wrong, would the effort still matter? If this story made you uncomfortable, drop a like, Subscribe for more stories about the messy truth of being human. And tell me in the comments, have you ever tried to do the right thing and made everything worse? Is redemption something you earn or something you survive toward? I want to hear all your thoughts down below.